you don't know. No, we don't know, but we don't know Superman doesn't exist either. So let's ignore all that.
Right.
And also, they're not mutually exclusive, because one deals in knowledge and one deals in belief. So none of us know, so we're all agnostic, right? And some of us choose to therefore not believe in a god, because we don't know, atheist.
Yeah.
And some of us choose to believe in a god despite having no evidence. That's the only difference.
Robin!
Our pal Ricky Gervais in studio. We already had a nice discussion on Bill Hicks and apologies, so too bad you guys didn't hear it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ricky plugged Eric and he's leaving, so that was great.
It's great. It's probably the best interview I've ever done. But, yeah, we're taking your questions to solve the world problems. We are 4 middle-aged white guys, so if we can't solve everything in America, then I don't know who can.
Absolutely. It's up to us.
First, gun control. That's an easy yes or no answer, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Well, yeah, not in this room, not necessarily. I mean,
we'll figure that one out in this country, I'm sure, any day now.
I think you can keep the right to own a gun, but you're not allowed to sell a gun, because it's all about money. So that would kill the market, wouldn't it? They were allowed to give them away, but they wouldn't.
Just give them away.
Yeah. If they want to give them away, they can, but they won't. So you're not allowed to sell a gun. If it's all about the Constitution, let's keep the right to own a gun, right? But you're just not allowed to sell one. That wasn't in the Constitution, was it? The right to sell a gun. There you go. That's that one. What's next?
Wow. Apologies. Jonah Hill is apologizing all over the place today. How do you apologize and save face?
Well, we can't say anything anymore. You know, the words hurt. We've learned words
do hurt. They do indeed hurt.
But these apologies, who are they to?
Yes.
Who are they to? Who was personally who was physically brought down a peg or two?
It's never a who, it's a what. It's an entity.
Yeah,
that's something that you apologize to.
I tell you, it's either drumming up press.
Yeah.
News is new. Bad news. Celebrity gone wild is news. There was no celebrity today. Didn't do much. That's not news. Because a celebrity today did what just normal stuff, and it was fine. He's enjoyed himself, and he was good at something, and it was good. Thanks.
Came home.
Right. Yeah. So they want that. That's that angle.
Yeah.
Then there's the everyone wants a say. The man in the street. We've talked about this before, right?
Yeah.
The man in the street. He's got his say. Everyone's on media. Everyone's a blogger. Everyone's a journalist. Everyone demands an explanation.
Yes.
I can't control my emotions, so I demand you stop hurting them. That's what it is. That's what it is. And comedians get the worst of it, of course.
Yeah.
Right, because it's like they think we go out there to undermine the moral fabric of the universe, as opposed to trying to be as honest as we possibly can in a funny way.
But you guys were safe for a while, but they finally have started coming out after you guys.
But you are
Radio
safe.
guys have not been safe for a long time, but now it's affecting stand-up a little bit.
No. Your stand-up cannot be affected, because you are in charge of your own destiny. You sell the tickets. It's your club.
Right.
If you don't like it, you can leave. It's when you've got a job, like you guys might have a boss that says you've got to apologise or you lose your job.
Right.
That's when you're compromised. That's when it comes down to.
Right.
Do you know what? I will apologise. It's no skin off my nose. I'd rather keep my job. And the same with Jonah Hill. Jonah Hill, I'm 99% sure that he is not in the slightest bit homophobic, and he said something rash to try and hurt someone's feelings who was hurting his feelings or whatever, right? But he's worried about his movie.
Sure.
So he's got to apologise.
We just think there's a better way to do it. He's groveling, and it's kind of embarrassing.
yeah, I think he went a little too far. You didn't have to go that deep in the well.
Like,
what did he do? I don't know about this. I only know about the incident.
Well, now he's saying that he'll never use the word again, and he wants others to never use the word again.
He said that I will never again use that ugly word that.
But will he use it in movies?
I bet you.
Well, that's the other thing as well. That's it's context. Everything's context. Louis C.K. has got a brilliant routine around the word, right? And it's not offensive because he's grown up and he's talking about its power, right? So it is context. You go around shouting it in a gay bar, and it's a horrible thing to do. Whereas if you're discussing it, if you're discussing the word, or using it ironically or contextually, then it's different.
So
I think
nowadays they don't see the difference of that, right?
There's nothing about context, because there's a buzzword, there's a taboo, and people they just it's a knee-jerk reaction,
and they're offended, and that's it. They don't
even in a well-constructed, justified joke, because this is why people are offended most of the time. Let's get this out there. Most people aren't bright by definition. By definition, by anything. Most,
you're absolutely right.
That's it. Okay, so all those people who don't quite get it, they're offended because they think they should be, and particularly with jokes, right? People are offended because they mistake the target of a joke with the subject of a joke, and they're rarely the same if the joke works.
Right.
That's the point.
The problem too is that even though people
Smart.
who do get it, and then there are the people who do get the context, and they ignore it on purpose because they want a launching pad for their discussion. Like they know what you're saying, but they pretend they don't know what you're saying, or they ignore the context on purpose, and that's where it gets dishonest and disgusting.
Well, that's what I like you on Twitter as well, because you come to the defense of people you don't care for, but you say, no, they were misunderstood. This is not fair. We've got to keep a balance here, and I sort of admire that. And that happens too much that there's a Schadenfreude in society these days more than ever before. Okay, because of the divide, because everyone wants to sort of be heard. And now they can be.
Yeah.
They can be now. It's everyone. You can read their toilet wall around the country. Everyone's a publisher. With Twitter and Facebook, and that
it used to be very difficult to be heard.
Yeah,
by
you had to write a letter. You had to bother.
Yes.
If you were angry or offended, you had to go and get a letter, find a stamp, and buy the. I can't be bothered. But now you can blurt off dude, no way, apologise, dude, and this spreads, and it's like you're public enemy number one.
And
for a joke.
Most people probably regret that they tweeted that. The old days, by the time, like you said, you got to the letter, you're like,
Well,
I got other things to do.
Most people want to reply. That's the other thing.
Right.
Everyone
wants to be heard.
I've worked in sort of, I've worked in a student union where there was a complaint, and if you wrote back to them, they'd say, no, don't worry about it. They just wanted to know they counted,
that they were heard.
They were heard, and that's the thing. It's this strange thing, and it's on the news now. They say tweet us your news stories. No, don't tweet us your news stories. What, that counts, does it? I just saw a bloke do a mugging and that. I think his name was Jeff. So we're looking for Jeff. We are looking for Jeff now. He's out there. It's weird. They do it on Vox Pops. I told you. I think it was last time. There's a thing. The British news that there was a train crash and they were slowing the trains down, and they went out to the people on the platform and said, let's see what the man on the street thinks, right? Let's not see what the man on the street thinks. He's in the street, for God's sake, right? And they said, they went to like 3 Vox Pops. What do you think? So, well, it's dreadful, I pay £200 a year, and now, it's going to take me more time to get to work. And someone said, yeah, well, it always takes me an hour to get to work. Now it's going to be an hour and a half, so that's, 3 hours in my day. And they went to a woman and said, well, I'd rather arrive at work late than dead. That was on the news.
Arrive at work.
That was a feature. She would rather arrive work late than Sheila's early, but she's dead.
I'm sure her coworkers would much rather have seen her dragged in dead. What a joy.
What a
Judy's
joy.
been beheaded. How fantastic.
It's true. There used to be a professionalism about journalism and the news. You watched it. It was only on a couple of times a day.
Right.
Here in the States, of course, you got Walter Cronkite and all the big names. It was a desk and a clock and sometimes a map behind them. They didn't need flashy graphics. And they told you what was going on because they had professionals collecting the news,
of course,
and presenting it to you in the best way possible.
That went to school for it too, by the way.
Yeah.
We're trained to do this.
Now
they had
a tweet.
They had all day to just get one lousy hour of news. Now it's 24 hours of news cycles.
The Daily Show is amazing because the research they put into that show, that it doesn't need to be that good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For a half-hour comedy, it doesn't need to be that good, but it is because they don't leave a stone unturned.
Right.
They really keep it fair, and it's amazing what you can do if you really bother. And all you have to be is honest to yourself. But as I say, most people, even though they know someone doesn't deserve that kicking, they don't like him for some reason, so they're going to put him through it, or at least going to keep their mouth shut because they want a little bit of controversy.
Sure.
They want a bit of excitement.
And we also like to get, like, I'm with the Donald Sterling thing I've been talking to. It's all the same thing. If we're all willing to show our text messages, like I've been doing a thing on stage where I'm talking to the audience, and I'm like, how many guys here who are on a date with a woman have sucked a dick? And of course I put my hand up, not that I have on many occasions, but like, let's see how honest you people are.
Right.
No one, of course, answers, and it's like, you see, that's how valuable your privacy is.
Right.
You don't want to be outed in any have that respect for other people or don't. And it's the same thing with these things that we say off the cuff. You know, you say something angry and we vilify Jonah Hill, but like, are all of you willing to put your shit out there that you say that in anger? Of course not.
Yeah, of course. That's the thing as well. That, you know,
we're all lying to each other.
It's this,
what it is.
Pretense that they're trying to take down hypocrisy, which is the biggest hypocrisy in the world, because there's no one out there. What happened to, you know, everyone knows I'm not religious at all, but I do like that he was without sin cast the first stone. It's brilliant, because if we lived by that, there wouldn't be any news, there wouldn't be any slatings or public hangings.
But it'd be boring though, because no rocks would be thrown either. I love a good rock throw.
Yeah, I know when they deserve it, I suppose.
If you were Jonah Hill, how would you apologize? Because we understand that
I would never have said that word.
Son of a bitch. Let's say you did. A weak moment.
I think it's.
But how would you apologize? Because I think there is a way to do it. Because obviously he has a lot to lose in Hollywood. You can't just walk around and say that stuff. How would you apologize?
I'd say I'm sorry. I'm an addict.
Yeah, there you go. That seems
I'm an addict.
Worked.
I'm a bad word addict, and I'm going to go into rehab as soon as. That's like sex addicts. It means you were caught.
Yes.
Right? Oh, I've got to go into rehab. Oh, you got caught. So you're a sex addict. What do you mean you're a sex addict? There's food addicts now. We're all food addicts. We're mammals. We eat food. It's ridiculous. It's true. Do you know what? This weird thing, this weird culture of you know, particularly with the rich and famous, right? It's like these people think, well, no, we've put you there. We voted you in. We voted you in, rich and famous. Okay, so we're your boss.
Yes.
So if we say you have to, and you can carry on being rich and famous. It's like you've got to be grateful and you've got to be apologetic all the time. And if you're not, they don't know what to do. And that's what I say. If you own your own labour, I think that's why the strength of a stand-up, the strength of a stand-up comedian over an actor or someone who works for someone is immense, because this is the tempting thing. The less you apologise as a stand-up and the more controversy you cause, the tickets go up.
Yeah.
So it's almost tempting to be, controversial for its own sake, which to me is just as bad. I don't find that.
Right, because that's also fake.
Boring. It's boring. When you can see the people are this new thing in journalism called clickbaiting, where they write an awful article. Right, it's clearly an inflammatory nonsense article, like someone to write women aren't funny, and they do a big article because they know they're going to get clickbait, so it's just based on nothing. But what's the thing I can say today to get some column inches?
Or the women, or just the headline is shocking. Women aren't funny, and then in the article it'll be about women, and it'll be like, and then so and so says women aren't funny, and they'll quote it, and they've made the headline enraging just to get you to click on it, so they get the count.
Well, it's like that thing now as well when they say, who was caught with the nanny? And you've got to go behind a paywall to find out. Now, who is paying £1 to find out who? I don't care who was caught with the nanny. I don't care. I don't care about these things.
Yeah.
But people are doing it.
It doesn't interest me. Gossip just doesn't interest me at all. It's just it's horrible and scary. But mostly it's boring. I see these magazines. There's 1,000 of them. But I don't care who's having a baby. 200,000 babies are born every day. 186,000 people die. There's which one do we put on the magazine?
So, why is that?
Oh, I think they all deserve a cover. That's just me.
Wow.
It is frustrating because it is based in this this getting information about people, and I don't quite understand the fascination. Like, at least give up your shit. I'll give up my stuff pretty quickly. If people give up their stuff, I wouldn't mind it nearly as much.
What does this lead to, you think? Are we going to finally get bored with this whole new way of doing things?
No?
You don't think so?
No.
You think it's just going to get worse and worse?
We talked about this. I had faith at one point that it would reverse itself, and that it would switch back, and the pendulum would go, and it will never swing.
We have too many ways of invading each other's privacy, so there's such a temptation to put out tapes of people and videos of people. We're constantly on other people's cameras, so the second you trip up, it's out there for everyone to see.
We all got video now.
Yeah, so
we can't wait to use it.
I think it's access. It's not that we've changed fundamentally as a species or as a society. It's the fact that it's too easy. It's just too easy. Everyone's got a camera phone. In fact, being famous in a sense makes you more careful. It makes you a lot more careful.
Because you know you're being watched.
Yeah.
All the time.
All the time.
I've said it before, the whole thing with the old 1984 Big Brother thing, and it was supposed to be some oppressive government that had cameras on poles and watched you, and then you realize, oh my God, no, it's us.
It's the people.
We figured out how to rat on each other.
That's it.
The second something happens, everyone's arm goes up with a phone at the end of it to get the video of it.
Well, I feel sorry for teenagers growing up now, because teenagers, they put things on Facebook and it's there forever.
Oh yeah.
It's there forever. Think of your teenage years, were there forever. It would be horrendous. That's something you want to get over and forget and know that everyone could. But now that it's not forgotten, it's like it's documented and it's held against you. It's like having a criminal record for things you did when you were 13. It's just dreadful.
Isn't Europe doing something about that? Isn't Europe doing their fighting Google on certain Google results that come up from years ago, so you can't use the stuff like you're talking about when you were 13? People were saying that it's affecting their lives now 10 years later. And Europe, they're doing something about Google's results.
Just what happened to forgiveness? It's just like this. Everyone's a court and a jury, and it's just dreadful. I think it's dreadful, but it is because and the strange thing is, everyone gets a bit of it, but being famous, obviously, it's like tenfold. Everything you say.
Oh, you don't have to tell us, Ricky.
No, do you know what I mean? Everything can be taken out. Everything is taken out of context, to be honest, because there's not time for them to tell the whole story.
Right.
So everything is
a soundbite
to a certain extent. Exactly.
They're all looking for sound bites.
But it's weird for me, because being famous to me is like there is a God. It's like whatever I say will be known.
Right.
Wow. God is everywhere. I gotta watch what I say.
We are. It will. You've got to be a good person.
And now people do have to apologize for things they did 10 years ago. That's starting to happen a lot.
Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber in the news today, something he did when he was 15.
Just saying racist stuff at 15.
We used to all understand.
If you're culpable at things you said at 15, then we're all doomed.
Oh my God.
Everyone
we're
would
all
be.
doomed.
Thank God there's no video.
But it's like
we're all
you said,
idiots at 15.
When we were younger, it was, if you had a picture that was something you didn't want out there, you just ripped it up. You ripped the picture up and threw it away, and it never saw the light of day again. Once you put something online, it's there forever. And someone could bring it back, or a letter that you wrote years ago, or that you received. You just rip it up and it's over with. Now, there's no getting all that stuff back anymore.
No, I know. It's just that people have got I think the things that come out that weren't meant to come out at all, like things, you said it privately or overheard or spied on or accidentally or drunk, they don't count. It's sort of like sneaking into someone's bedroom, reading their diary, and then getting offended about what you read.
Yes.
You shouldn't. It wasn't for you to hear.
Yes.
It wasn't for you to hear.
Yes.
That's what a private conversation is.
Yeah.
It's a mutual understanding that this is between us, and when it gets out, it's always going to offend. So it just doesn't count. But people can't see that, and even if they can, you're right. They want this Schadenfreude in their life because it makes them feel a little bit better, and it makes them feel that they've got a little bit of power, and it wants to bring even people they like. They want to bring down a peg or two because they can. It's like a sport. It's really weird. It's really strange.
You build them up and then break them down.
Yeah.
Right? There's a story about Jackie O today.
Oh,
there was a time where the media left all that gossipy shit alone. Everyone knew what was going on, but they never wrote about it or talked about it. But you're not even safe from that because now all this stuff comes out years later because, times have changed. Jackie O is going to divorce JFK before the assassination. And supposedly she was paid like $1 million or something.
Joe Kennedy, the father.
By Joe Kennedy to stay because it was good for JFK for him to be married.
And she said if he brings home an STD, I want $20 million.
Right.
She said that. That was a part of it.
And this was something that was never going to come out. But now in this new...
But I mean, I read that, and I think, I don't know what to do with that information.
I know, you're right.
I don't know what to do with that information.
But the point...
I'd rather you tell me a fact about ants.
Yeah, sure.
It's like... it's something interesting.
But the point is...
They're not very strong for their size.
It's like, it's so irrelevant. It's
right.
gone. It's like gossip about a caveman. This caveman had that caveman from behind.
Yeah.
I don't care. There's nothing I can do with that.
Yeah.
Have you know that program, what's it called? Who Do You Think You Are? Where a famous actor or actress links their
ancestry
back and they always end up crying about their. My great-great-grandmother was a prostitute. So?
Right.
You know her. She's scheduled genetic material. So does a chimp.
Come on.
Oh, my great-great-great-great-grandmother was a chimp. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares now?
Yeah, a hooker chimp. That's what she was.
Yeah. I don't care about my cousins.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I want my kids to be hooker chimps.
But the point is that we're digging up dirt on each other for stuff we're doing now, currently. But now we're going back and digging up dirt from 40, 50 years ago. That's crazy.
Ricky's right on this, though. It's like, what do you do with that?
What do you do?
Right. There's nothing.
You pass it on with, and it's slightly changed.
Yeah,
so
maybe that.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, just she was going to divorce him because.
Well, the STD angle is pretty interesting, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
20.
exactly,
She gets 20 million if he comes home with an STD.
And in those days, 20 million was a lot of money.
Oh my God!
Now it's what? It's one film. It's a week's work. I understand. But
Yeah, it's one film if you apologise.
Mere bag of shells.
Yeah, the Kennedy stuff is interesting because, like, apparently she caught him getting a blowjob, and you know, that was just a known thing, but the press kind of
Just
left it alone. It's only now.
That's why I bring it up, because it just shows how different it all is now.
And the fact that her private letters to a priest.
Yeah.
Right.
She wrote letters to a priest that were going to be released, which I thought was disgusting. These private letters, and the guy saved them in a safe. He never released them, and he
wasn't going to release them.
No. He's dead. He died in the '60s.
But his family got a hold of the letters.
Or somebody did, but now they're not.
Shot over some letters he apparently had.
Exactly. Yeah, he was caught. Fucking Xeroxing them and sending them to people with LOL.
He gave some bloke's wife to STD. that was
Couldn't afford it. Didn't have the extra 10 mil. Wow, that's
yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
that's the world we live in.
But yeah, now it's just completely gone.
We solved that.
awry.
We've solved that.
Yeah.
So that's gun
I
control.
think we solved that.
Yeah.
The apologies. I think
The religious stuff. By the way, on Twitter, you're great because you have you're a very high profile guy, and I love the fact that on Twitter you're brutally honest and you don't care if you upset people. You're not trying to, but you say what you want, and I just love that.
Just being honest.
But people don't understand that if I say I don't believe in any God, right? And they say, why are you forcing your opinions on other people? I'm not forcing my opinions. You can unfollow.
Yeah.
You're following me. How could I force my opinions? And if I was forcing my opinion on you, what difference does it make to you? If your faith is strong, it makes no difference.
Right.
So what are you worried about? I told you the famous one. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, so shut up about your atheism. And that just sums it up, really. That's it's very strange that you can't. And I'm not trying to change anyone's opinion. I couldn't care less, if you believe it. I really couldn't.
You're just giving yours.
Unless it affects me. Some things do. And that's the other thing I say, for somebody who doesn't believe in God, why do you care so much? Well, I don't care about God. He doesn't exist. I care about the people who think he exists and want to stone me to death for being an atheist. That's what I care about. How it affects me and other people.
Yeah.
But I suppose the one thing I do think that why you should say that is that there are still people who are really oppressed for not believing in a God or the right God, and you want to let them know that they're not abnormal. There's nothing wrong with them. There's just no, there are 12-year-old kids who are told that if they don't believe in God, they'll go to hell. And you want to tell them you won't go to hell. Just believe what you want. That's the good thing about Twitter, I think. That is one of the good things about Twitter. It does, it eventually reaches most people. And there's rubbish on Twitter, of course, but there's rubbish in the press. More so than ever now.
Yeah.
More so than ever. And again, when I first got famous, I read things about myself, right? And they're all a bit wrong. Like 50% inaccurate. Not in a bad way, but 50% wrong. So am I to assume that everything is 50% wrong?
Yeah.
Well, probably. Because I know that that's wrong intimately, because I know it by definition.
Right.
So everything's 50% wrong.
We would think that. We saw that and spoke about it.
The shit they would say about us.
Anytime we would do something, get in trouble or something, and they would write shit, and we'd be like, there's so much of this that's wrong, and it makes you question everything you read.
Of course.
Because the story about some other guy you don't know, he's sitting there going, oh my God, that's half wrong.
But it was the basic info
that
was
the
scary. Like stuff you could look up within 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, that's laziness. That's just
so what else are they being lazy
laziness.
about is the point, and a lot more serious stuff.
But when you say you got in trouble, You know, if it say, comedian got in trouble he didn't get in trouble. He didn't get in trouble. People who kill people get in trouble.
Right.
You don't get in trouble. You either ignore it or apologise if you want and get on with it. There's no getting in trouble for saying stuff and making jokes.
Oh, really? We
right?
set out 2.5 years.
They could fire you.
We got in trouble.
That's getting fired. It's not
we got in trouble.
It's like trouble. I think I know what he's saying.
I understand what he's saying.
Trouble is being caught in enemy land, enemy territory. That's in trouble. Trouble is being thrown into a lion's cage. Now you're in trouble. Yeah.
Well, I prefer that to sitting with human resources. The lion's cage is preferable.
So what did you do wrong? And this is great. So what did you do wrong, and what did you have to go through?
Oh, there was a couple of instances, but
we've been fired a few times.
One involved the church.
Right.
We decided to have a little game where people went around New York City and went to famous landmarks and had sex at these landmarks for point values. And
this was a time when you could do that type of thing on radio.
Yeah. So we had a couple. There were couples, a bunch of couples, and then we sent out friends of the show, comedians and whatnot, to follow the couples around, and they actually had to watch them have sex at these various landmarks around Manhattan, Empire State Building, Macy's, the Hard Rock Cafe, all these things. And then they would get points like, he's having sex with her. That's 3 points for. Well,
we had the 2-point conversion.
And then if it
was in the bunghole, you got 2 points instead of 1.
An extra 2 points.
Yeah, like vaginal sex was 3 points, or whatever, and anal sex was 5, whatever it was. It was an extra 2 points. And the point value
went up with how more risky the location was.
Right.
So we gave him a big list.
Wasn't this our 3rd annual?
Yes.
We did it a couple times before this and didn't get fired.
Now, on the list, just as a shock value kind of
thing,
we
could talk about
when we read it, we never expected anyone to do this, was a church.
Right.
A church. Any church. Whatever.
Yeah.
The phone line rings. Pick it up. A comic's at the other end. One of the spotters says, "We're here at St. Pat's Cathedral, and he's doing her in the ass." And we're like, oh, no. Now, there was that 7 seconds we had to hit the delay, which would have completely negated the whole thing.
But hold on. This is radio.
Yeah.
You could have said he wasn't really there. We were making it up.
Even if you saw
there was an arrest.
There was an arrest.
And the police wouldn't go along with that.
Yeah, the guard was there. But there was a point where the guard... There was a guard at the church that didn't want to deal with what he saw, so he actually told everyone, just get out of here. And one of our guys
I'm more offended with you having people having sex in public. That would offend me.
Right.
I mean, I think, get a room. The fact that it's a church or Macy's makes no difference to me, because I think they're bricks and Malta and that's it.
It's a holy place for some people.
On a slow news week, it made a big difference to people.
Yeah, they were not happy.
The Catholic League got involved, and all religious people, and of course the news is outraged. Every reporter reporting on it was like, well, their parents must be proud. A disgusting story.
Right. We were supposed to be tarred and feathered. Remember?
Yeah. Meanwhile,
they want us tarred and feathered.
They're reporting literally about murdered children, and they're like, and today in the news, an 8-year-old boy was killed by this man, blah, 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 blah. And now a disgusting story of sex in church. Like, you didn't even give that guy as hard a time as you given us.
Right.
I know, and the really bad thing is that there's, you'd never find any Catholic having sex in a church.
Well, maybe they were a little upset that other people started getting in on it.
A priest has never had sex in a church.
No. Too bad you weren't around to explain that to our bosses.
By the way,
he is without sin cast the first stone. Loads of priests go, okay, let it go. Let's let it go. Don't go through the back there. Do not open that door.
We were number 1 up and down the East Coast and some other places, and man, they couldn't fire us fast enough.
Yeah, that was a firing offense.
2.5 years we had to sit out because they didn't officially fire us. They
like on the bench.
They put us on the bench. They made us.
But did you get paid?
Yeah.
There you go.
They did.
Who's the loser here?
Jimmy.
Me.
You didn't get paid?
No, what happened was a little contract issue. I was new. It was 2002, and I wasn't. The new contract with my raise wasn't quite signed. So
it was in a mailbox, but waiting to be signed.
So you were unemployed for 2 years?
Yeah, I was doing. That's when I started doing Colin's show. It actually worked out for the best. I mean, like it made me a much better comedian because I was forced to write topically. For
it was one of those. It was one of those situations like when you hear about Pearl Harbor and the communique was there, but the guy didn't pick it up and give it to that guy. That's what happened with his contract.
His contract was supposed to be signed.
You see, that's Jesus.
Yeah,
made it work out for the best.
Yes, the Lord did help me.
He liked what you did, and he said, "Those guys, you know, I forgive them."
Were you ever religious, even as a child?
Yeah.
I was brought up with that. Was there a thing, an instance where you said, "Fuck this"?
I mean, I think that I liked Jesus more than God, really. I liked him because he was a man.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
I liked him. He was kind, and he was a hero, and he helped the poor, and I sort of, you know, he was great. And the half God thing was fine, but I didn't quite understand it. I thought that was a God. You got to realise, to a working class mum, Jesus is like an unpaid babysitter. You know, if I can't watch you, Jesus is watching you. So that's the thing. I thought it was great. And you know, I went to Sunday school, and I was drawing something from the Bible, right, for Bible studies. And my brother came in, he was like 11 years older than me, so I was about 8, so he was like 19. And he said, "Why do you believe in God?" And my mum went, "Bob."
Oh no, she
knew. I knew from that moment.
It was a Santa Claus moment.
Yeah. That she didn't want him to tell me something. Why wouldn't she want me to tell me something? This is the discussion. She's got something to hide. They also thought that in those days, religion sort of mugged morality and goodness, and so you were taught that, you know, if you just believed in God, you were a good person. You know, so that's why she was doing it. And then I thought about it for about an hour. Of course.
At that young age.
There's all the different gods, there's all different
But did Bob ever tell you?
There's no consistency. Nature's consistent. Nature is consistent, you know? And I know I've made my own mind up, and I was an atheist from about 8 years old.
But did Bob ever tell you what he was going to tell you?
No. He just. That's all he had to do.
Wow, I would love to know what it was, though.
Yeah, what he was going to say. Why do you believe? All he was saying was, "Why do you believe?" He wanted me to think for myself.
Gotcha.
And she didn't want me to.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I worked it out. I just worked it out from.
Did you feel bad? Did you feel abandoned? Did you feel anything?
No, I felt liberated. I thought, this is amazing.
Really?
I thought, this is amazing. This is incredible. And then I had one lapse. I remember, and I was staunch atheist, and I loved the world, and I thought, this is amazing. Everything makes sense now. Everything makes sense now. If you don't have to, all these conflicts and all these contradictions and all the different gods and all the different heavens and all the weird beliefs, and you know, nature is consistent everywhere you go. It doesn't matter where you were born, who your parents were. Nature and physics and maths are consistent the world over, and will be forever and ever. Okay, but I was studying for an exam when I was about 15, and there's this flower, right, that's got a little lever that when the bee comes and lands on it, the stamen comes down and touches a bit of pollen on the bee, then goes to another flower and the female comes down, and I understood evolution, and I had a crisis, and I locked myself in my bedroom, and I was going, oh my God, how can that, and I just calmed down, and I worked out, I go, okay, yeah, of course, natural selection, and I worked through it again, and I came out, and I was fine. But I think that's what some people have. They think they can't, everything's too perfect, because they can't understand, they give evolution a will. They give natural selection a will, like that was aiming at something.
So you were looking at that and thinking, well, this has to be some kind of divine intervention.
Yeah, because it shocked me. It caught me unawares, and I think I was stressed. And
what are the odds that this is going to work like this without some kind of?
And because it works, it works when you like everything else. It took a billion years.
Yeah.
And slowly, it just happened.
You also got to think of all the things that don't work that we don't see because they're not there.
99
they didn't work.
99% of all animal species that ever existed are now extinct.
Right.
So this 5 million plus species, including some insects we don't even know there are. Yeah. That is 1%. That is 1%.
Like the rabbit on crutches never made it. That was one that just didn't quite survive in the wild.
Yeah. He tried though.
The goopy machine that we are is an odd thing when you really start getting into vision and the amazing quickness we have to respond to things physically.
We're an evolved machine.
3.5 billion
years of slight changes that were favoured, or we passed on genetic material.
But you also look at things like, okay, our eyes work in concert with the sun. Like, how the freak does that work? The light from the sun, and then you start thinking of divine intervention instead of the evolution of the whole.
Of course, well, it's what here is what works. It's
yes, because
that Douglas
it works.
Adams thing. He does this thing where some water, a puddle, starts thinking, I fit this hole perfectly.
Okay.
It must have been made for me.
Right.
And that's how it feels like. Our illusion of free will feels like everything was built for us, everything's perfect, everything works. Well, of course it does, because it wouldn't be around if it didn't.
Because if it didn't work,
But it's also a hard thing for me to, like, and I believed growing up, and it's like, I've gotten farther and farther away from believing. It's really difficult to believe anymore. Like, the more you read and learn, and it's just like hard to buy but the idea that I struggle with is ceasing to exist. That's what bothers me.
But why? But you didn't exist for 14 billion years.
Right.
What did it feel like?
It was boring. Like I just wanted to get in the game.
Yeah. We have this illusion for free will, for consciousness for 100 years.
Yeah.
And then we're gone, and our atoms are spread out again.
But it's almost like once you taste it, like I know I won't even know that it's not there.
Of course.
But it's just...
No, that's usual. Of course we do. We love this. We love life. It's amazing. We're thinking. We're doing stuff.
Yeah.
Some people are having sex in churches.
Yes.
Really,
some people are getting paid. Some aren't.
There is that weird will to live thing that is.
You still can't wrap your head around.
Again, that's built in. We need to have a will to live.
Need that.
But how do you
die? Or we'd touch fire and we'd fight lions.
But how do you handle that? How do you handle your own death?
You live your life every single day as much as you can, but when you say handle your own death, what choice do you have? It's
True.
not like you go, you want to live forever? Okay, just okay. Anyone who wants to live forever on the left? Anyone who doesn't, you haven't got a choice anyway. So you've got to live with it. And I just think I mean, I'm worried about dying. I don't want to die in agony or lonely or
anytime
hung
soon
for stealing a lamb. You know what I mean? But I think that. Pack it all in, and then there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully when I'm, in agony and there's nothing I can do, there'll be a pill I can get from, CVS. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how scared are you of it?
I don't think about it much, but I mean, yeah, if I wake up and I find a lump, I think that's it.
Right.
I've blown it. I've got 6 months.
Remember when you first realized you were going to die someday?
Jeez.
That feeling you had, though?
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Well, it was funny because
that was brutal.
I remember my first taste of it. It might have been after I was after an atheist. I said to my mum, when you die, will I care?
Huh.
And I was throwing myself forward and she went, yeah, you'll care, but you'll be old enough to cope with it.
To handle it.
Your own way. And that's what I was worried about. That's what we're worried about. We see our own mortality. We think, oh, God, I'm going to lose that friend, then it's going to happen to me.
Well, isn't that where the religion comes in, really?
I think so, yeah.
Isn't
You want to see your family and pets again.
Right,
in
that's the big...
In this heaven where, but when you break it down, what is it? Who is this? And there's this really strange... If I had one thing to leave society, everyone on Earth would have to be taught the burden of proof. They'd have to understand what the burden of proof is, because that's the argument I have with, on Twitter. They say things like, prove there isn't a God. Well, no, prove there isn't a unicorn. You can't prove the non-existence of something, and why would you? It's mental.
Right.
You don't need to.
Mental.
And there's other myth that what an atheist is. An atheist simply is someone who doesn't believe in a God.
Yeah.
It's not saying there isn't a God. You can go further, So most of us are agnostic atheists. So when they say, you don't know. No, we don't know, but we don't know Superman doesn't exist either. So let's ignore all that.
Right.
And also, they're not mutually exclusive, because one deals in knowledge and one deals in belief. So none of us know, so we're all agnostic, right? And some of us choose to therefore not believe in a God, because we don't know, atheist.
Yeah.
And some of us choose to believe in a God despite having no evidence. That's the only difference. So we're all agnostic, so it just doesn't count. It's not interesting. It's about what you know.
I think it's there to answer all the mysteries, and without even a real answer.
Yeah.
It's there to give comfort to people, especially early on in civilization when we really didn't have an understanding of things.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, what happens? Oh, I'm not going to see that person ever again. No, you know what? There's a God, there's a heaven, it's going to be
great.
Do
you know what? I'm guilty of it myself. When my mum was dying, and she was dying for quite a while, she had lung cancer, 6 months, I knew that if she said, do you think there's a God? I'd have said, I don't know, but yeah, probably.
Right.
I couldn't sit down
for comfort
and that at that stage, and tell her what, you know, because there's no good. And I think that's how, you know, I think spirituality certainly started probably well. It started out well. It started comfort or not knowing. Religion's somewhat different. Religion is purely a power struggle. Do
you have a spirituality about yourself?
Yeah, only that I'm in awe. I don't need a God to be in awe of a mountain, or in awe of that flower, or in awe of this illusion of free will, or how amazing life is.
Do you think being good has any payoff in life?
Yes, it does.
And what is
it's that I want people to treat me as I treat them, and it has its own rewards. Being kind and nice to people is rewarding. It's a lovely feeling. It's a lovely feeling to help someone, or be kind, or make someone smile, or make someone feel better.
If it is.
Do you know what I mean?
No,
I heal someone. It's a brilliant feeling. You don't need to think that, you know, you'll be rewarded in heaven. You're rewarded now. And if you think that you're sent to hell if you're bad, and you're sent to heaven if you're good, if that's your reason for being good, you're not good. You're Pavlov's dog.
It's a very selfish.
I don't think there's a heaven, and I don't think there's a hell. But you know what? Be nice anyway.
Why would you spend 75, 80 some odd years sacrificing what you have here?
Yeah.
All that wonder and stuff here for some maybe payoff based on nothing but faith and this weird belief.
Course, this is guaranteed. We know this is here. Right. Let's make the most of this. Then it doesn't matter.
But you're supposed to sacrifice the mortal pleasures in order to
because
show that
some
you're
weird
faithful.
guy a few thousand years ago said so.
Right.
Some little weird desert dweller who hated gays, women, right, and wanted power and was angry because he lived in the desert and could only beat himself stupid every night, wanted to make everyone pay.
Right.
And he wanted a piece of it, you know. It's so obvious the Bible's written by men seizing power.
Yes.
It's like, it's ludicrous. I mean, it seems
laughable. A waste to just use all this time.
I know. There's a great lyric. There's a great, my favourite band at the moment is Sun Kill Moon. And there's a lyric where he ponders, do you think there's an afterlife? Probably not. And then, and he's saying to this person who's worried about you living the life without, he said, you wasted life, why wouldn't you waste death? It's like, if you waste this one, you'll waste
then you'll waste the next one. And
what do you do when you're up there? What are the rules of heaven? What can we do?
Wow.
You can have sex in church in heaven, because it's whatever you want to do. So you can go and have sex in church.
So you can do that. You know what though? You'd be told that, but you wouldn't want to.
You wouldn't want to.
Right.
That's it.
There was always a thing. My parents would tell me things like that. Like, it's like, what's heaven? What is? It's anything you want. You get anything. And as a child, all I'm thinking is like
exist?
Christmas.
No, you can't have
that. Yeah. It was always based on something like Christmas, or like, this is going to be great. I could have anything I want. So what? Toys?
Candy? Isn't it? There's no consistency. No consistency. Some people don't get into heaven. Wrong religions don't get into heaven. And you're the wrong religion. You could be, it's odd, isn't it?
And then, my grandma was there to greet me when I went to heaven. Did she want to be 80 years old in heaven? So when I greeted her, she would be my grandma? Or did she want to be like she was in her 20s and having fun? Like,
an atheist can't get into heaven, right? But someone who murders someone and then says sorry on his deathbed can be.
It's a little loophole there.
It's full of murderers who said sorry. It's just... and they're victims who didn't do anything wrong. No, so, hold on. So if you murder an atheist... he goes to hell, he'll have to say sorry and you go to heaven.
Yeah, that's the way it works out.
That's not right, is it?
And all the other people you killed are forced to interact with you in heaven. Hey, I said I was sorry. You still have a fucking axe wound in your head. Yeah, I heard you.
What are you doing here? I said sorry. I said sorry, like Jonah Hill. Said sorry, got to heaven.
Sorry, I want to deeply apologize for your murder. I'm going to vow to never murder you again. Yeah.
Well, we've done that. Okay, so
we solved the religion.
Gun control.
We didn't talk about Derek.
Yeah,
we should at least get the word out that.
What, right?
Because there's one thing you said that
Derek on Netflix.
Yes.
That's all you need to know.
Now. It's out now.
There you go. Perfect.
Series
all right,
2.
Back to other things.
And I wish there was more than 6 because it's like that's the frustrating part is you blow through a series so quick.
Right.
Like so, I made myself stop watching at 5. Like so, I have one more to watch.
Oh, great.
And there's a character that you remind me of. There's a guy who's a caretaker, and he's a bit of a prick, and he was saying something that was like, oh my god, that's Ricky writing that in. Like it was, he was talking about, there's no such thing as food addiction. It was really funny. He was mocking the idea of food addiction. I'm like, or whatever. I'm like, oh man, that was Ricky fucking sick of that.
But it's funny, I made him the prick.
Yeah.
I said,
exactly.
Right. Yeah. And I made Derek this nice guy who has good intentions. You know, and not everything he says is right, but it's with good intentions. You know, he calls an ambulance when he finds a baby bird. No, you shouldn't call an ambulance for a bird, right? But his intentions were good, and I think that's the point of it. But,
is Carl? What's his role? Carl Plinkington, or as I say his name, Plinkington.
Pilkington. He was.
I make mistakes.
He was purely there for my amusement. I put him under the wig and made him say stuff, and that was it. And after the series was finished, I told him that Dougie was based on Carl if he'd never met me. That annoyed him. So that's the role. So we forgot to plug. Well, we solved everything else though, didn't we?
Yes,
now the world's safe, and you know you can go and live your life.
Yeah.
And you're a wonderful,
Carl
beautiful,
is amazing.
Evolved animal.
We really do good work
watch
here.
Derek. 6 episodes now on Netflix.
Yeah, we are. Let's be honest. We are a quite impressive radio program.
Thank you.
Just kidding. There's a lot of very tough things that they tackle in this show. It's like it's a comedy, but it's pretty hardcore. Some of the stuff that you guys do in the episodes.
It's set in an old people's home, and old people die sometimes, and it's about that really. I was quite existential, but then so was The Office. But with The Office, it was about being 30 and 40.
Right.
Whereas this is about being 80 and 90 and all the fears that you have, and it's a group of outsiders really, like us.
I love that in The Office. In my 30s. In my 30s.
Yeah.
You're 39. Well, both
39, my 30s.
In my 30s. Oh, just never wanted to.
No, never. And a prude. Women are dirty.
The not wanting to acknowledge the age because he wasn't going to be cool anymore.
I know.
But he wasn't cool anyway.
To begin with.
The midlife crisis for people who were never cool.
Oh, yes.
That's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the problem. If you're just not happy in your skin, you haven't done what you wanted, life didn't turn out, so you're desperate. You start, again, it's getting your own back. It's like you're trying to get your own back on the world. Well, I'm going to have a sports car then. And I'm going to have an earring.
Right. When you write something like The Office, were you ever thinking, like, how will this age? Or how will it date?
I sort of was, yeah. I tried to take out things that were either terribly parochial, like a Big Brother winner that you wouldn't even remember in 10 years' time, or issues that didn't really affect everyone. So I think that's why it travelled as well. Because,
very well, man. You can watch it now.
The themes are universal, aren't they?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Boy meets girl, decent boss.
Right.
I just wondered if you thought about it.
I do. Less and less now because you sort of do it intuitively, but you sort of realise that. And even though you don't pander to any country in the world, you want it to work outside language barriers.
Yeah.
You want it to work everywhere, really. Just because I think that we probably are all the same outside language barriers, roughly.
Yeah.
Roughly, we understand all the same things. Or not understand. You know, there's
a Chinese version of The
clever
Office.
And dumb people
there
everywhere.
is. There's I know the guy who created one in Afghanistan.
Really?
It's called the Ministry, and
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about a garbage.
That's right. Yeah.
And they make it a fictional country, but it's based on Abazar is the guy I know who actually did it, and his cousin Assad, who
right. Sure.
And he created one. went for Afghanistan. So this it's based on the British office.
Yeah.
Well, it's a power struggle, isn't it? It's about small-mindedness and your little bit of turf, and it applies, you know.
Very universal.
I think the best. All the best sitcoms didn't matter what it was. You know, Bilko, it was the army, but it could have been something else. It could have been a bank. As long as there was ranks and classes and nemesis, it sort of worked.
Yeah.
And ugly personality flaws to exploit, which are kind of cross-cultural. Like, there's always going to be a shithead. Always a shithead that you're working
I think so. I think, and that's the main sort of departure with Derek to things like The Office and extras. There I was clearly going for flaws that can be helped. You know, ego, and here I'm going for more superficial flaws that, you know, things like physicality and shuffles and voice, you know, but really inside they're not so flawed, the characters, they're sort of nice people who've been dealt an awkward hand. Whereas David Brent should have known better. He was just desperate, he wanted fame, he just wanted to be famous.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and he would say really deep things like, you know, get a new rule book.
That one, throw out.
Try to be cool.
But Derek, you got a lot of shit.
Guilty. Guilty. Oh, just telling everyone, look, I know I'm guilty of it. I'm an amazing person.
Well, that's it. We all are, though. I think we've all got a little bit of David Brent in us. We all sort of want to be loved. We are. It's just that when we make a faux pas, there's a couple of people in the room. Whereas he was doing it with a documentary team, so he was flawed every time, and you can't win.
No.
The Office was about the power of edit.
Yeah.
In a way. You just can't win it. And it's the same. People, they do reality shows and they think this will sort it out. And it doesn't sort it out. It doesn't sort it out. It makes it worse. You know?
Well, the fact that you took issue to the fact that in the like, you know, when they edited it together, I did a lot of great things, but then they show me tripping on the soccer ball and hitting my secretary in the face.
You headbutt one girl and you're a prat.
The fact that David would actually wonder why they showed that as opposed to his...
Think of all the days I didn't headbutt a girl. Why weren't they in? Yeah.
And you got flack for Derek. Like there were people that misinterpreted what you were trying to do, which I was really irritated. It's so obvious that it's not a mockery at all. It's not at all shitting on people.
Yeah, no, it's not. They assumed that it would be, you know, snarky and offensive, which is understandable because, you know, the stuff I've done previously is quite sort of, you know, cynical and there's a veil of irony. And they were shocked when I'd left that behind. I think the main thing was, like, doing the Golden Globes, they lumped me in with shock comics. They thought I was there to give people a bad day as opposed to make some people laugh, which is odd. Because, you know, I just don't think I did anything that bad at the Golden Globes.
Not
by our standards.
I love you.
Right, this room.
Your quote on the Golden Globes is great. I'll do it in a while. You're going to do it again, I'm sure, eventually.
Maybe one day, yeah.
You said the Golden Globes, I think people thought that my humor was mean, but it was very considered, and they weren't a room full of wounded soldiers, he said. They were privileged people who were getting honored. We're all in the same game. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
brilliant.
the thing is, you know, I had nothing against those people. I admire a lot of them. I know a lot of them. But imagine me going out there and making it a big schmooze fest and talking, hey, George, remember that time? I got to tell you a great thing about all Leo's charity work, actually. It's not, there's people at home, there's nothing in it for them. It's not a spectator sport, so I tried to make it one. And do you think they really cared? Do you really think Johnny Depp was wounded that I didn't like The Tourist?
Right.
You know? No. He doesn't care.
Right.
He has £300 million.
They really have lost a lot of ways their sense of humor about themselves. They like a very, very controlled situation where the humor is acceptable to the person being made fun of.
Right.
But you went out there like a comic,
It was
and like
great.
Chris Rock at the Oscars, who I wanted to hug after the Oscars, and just fucking made fun of everybody. And that was what you should do at an event like
It's
that.
entertaining to watch.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? Because I don't know whether I don't know what this new culture of you know, some sort of blasphemy to take the mickey out of a Hollywood icon, you know, and I think it's probably because they think it's damaging, and it's just not. If you ignore it, nothing happens. You know, people can say that no one likes to be the butt of the joke, and you can answer back, and you know, some of it's unfounded. There's only one joke that I sort of felt slightly guilty about, and the reason I did it, I thought people would get the joke, where I went out there and there was Tom Hanks and Tim Allen presenting an award, and I said, next was 2 presenters. Our first presenter has a box office of $5 billion. He's won an Oscar. He's done and the other is Tim Allen.
Right.
Right. And the joke being, but who would stand up against Tom Hanks anyway? None of us would. So it was for everyone to see, and I felt bad that that whoever was coming out with Tom Hanks, it would have been his name.
Whatever it was.
I've got nothing against Tim Allen.
Right.
He's brilliant. He's done great work. And I did feel guilty about that because on the face of it looks like a specific slight because it was his name. But who would look good against?
You're really
Tom
talking about how amazing Tom Hanks' career has been.
Of course.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, they could not have sent Tom Hanks out with somebody who was less of that's completely opposite. Tim Allen hasn't done that kind of work. He's just done some comedies and
successful in his own right.
I did feel bad because I didn't want him to think that I have something against Tim Allen, which of course I don't, or any of them. I don't have anything against any of them.
Did he ever talk to you about it, Tim Allen?
Yeah, I mean, I joked about it afterwards, but I can see why he was upset.
Oh, jeez.
You don't want to be the butt of the joke. But it sort of wasn't. It was just another who was the butt of the joke.
That's a great line, Ricky. That's just a great line.
No, it works. It works comedically.
I understand where you're coming from, but that's a great line.
I didn't want anyone to have a day, and there was some other misunderstandings, like the joke I made about the special effects should go to the people who airbrush the Sex and the City poster. Right?
That's funny. Come on.
And Patrol said that was ageist. I said no, it's the opposite. I'm saying, why do you care? Why airbrush it? What's up with being 50? It was clearly having a go at this strange Hollywood paradigm that you have to look 25 when you're not.
But the fact that she would say it's ageist, here's what's so annoying. That whole Sex and the City thing is popular because look at the older gals. It's almost like you're playing the age thing because it's fun and sexy and shocking to hear a woman of 50 talking like that. That's the selling point.
Right.
But if you address it in humor, you're a bad guy. And it's like, that's a bullshit argument from her.
But it just isn't ageist. The joke isn't ageist.
No.
It's having a go at hiding something. That's the target of the joke. Mel Gibson, I like a drink as much as the next man. That was in the press. He got drunk and that was me welcoming him back into polite society. There was no, I really did worry about every single joke because I didn't want anyone to feel that I was having a go at them.
The pressure is just to be funny is bad enough.
It's
now
bad
the
enough,
pressure to be funny and not offend
hurt someone's feelings,
or hurt someone's feelings, not so much offend.
I don't want to hurt people's feelings. When one, the joke has to be justified, and two, you do have to live with it, and I do put myself in their shoes. But I think if it's out in the open, you're joking about what happened. Charlie Sheen getting drunk, and that's out there. I can't believe he would mind. Do
you think a joke could be damaging to someone's career?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
How could it? You'd have to put something out there that no one knew, that was then investigated and found out to be true, and it's your fault. Right? You'd have to be. It'd be like the comedic version of a rat. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm going to sing like a canary tonight.
But they do seem to take it that way. Like it, hey, don't make me look.
It's out there. It hurts for a minute. It's out there forever. It's there on Facebook, and people rally round, and people stir up trouble, and I do want. I've got nothing against anyone, and
I think the majority of people know that, though. They
should know that.
Yeah, I don't even like the people liking it because I think they hurt their feelings. Because do you know what I mean? Right. I don't want them on my side either.
That'd be hilarious. You get mad at someone for laughing too hard at your joke.
Right.
That's mean, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
What a psychopath.
You have a very narrow corridor.
Holy shit.
Okay. If anyone doesn't laugh, they're in trouble. If anyone does laugh, it's
too hard.
Worse.
Right.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That's a tough spot to be in.
No shit.
Don't change though, man. This stuff's hilarious.
Yeah, and don't change on
overthink
Twitter.
it. Yeah,
it's great,
please
man. We love having you. Obviously, we're running out of time.
Well, they're saying you got to go. You got other press.
Does everyone follow each other on Twitter? I do follow you guys.
Yes,
anyway.
I do.
Yeah, we follow you.
That was one of my
It's great.
finest days when it said Ricky Gervais is following Jim Norton. I was very happy. Felt a lot of pressure too. I'm like, oh boy, don't fuck this up.
Step up your game.
Yeah. The worst is when there's somebody following you and then you see they're not following you. You're like, oh no.
Yeah, what did
Which
I do?
tweet
I
blew
keep
it?
accidentally following people as well with my phone. When you scroll down, there's a new thing on Twitter on this
Oh,
phone.
yes,
where it's
yeah,
just like
yeah.
an easy
Yeah.
touch.
Right.
And then I get DMs from people going, oh, thanks for following me. I think, who are you? Who are you? It's like that. I've let a portal into my soul. 'Cause it feels like I've given some weird guy in a bar my email. Hey, remember me? What? Yeah, last night you said, what? Do you know where I live? I do know where you live. Are you watching me? I am watching you, yeah. Hey, nice shower. It's just...
Twat Lapper 71. Ricky Gervais follows you.
Oh, as always, what fun.
So
Ricky, thank you, buddy.
Derek
Yeah.
is on Netflix series 2, and I've seen 5 of the first 6. Unfortunately, there's only 6 of them.
Yeah.
You got to do more, man. The series are too
Yeah, I think
short.
I will.
It's
I think I will.
really, really
Absolutely.
good.
Thank you.
And I blew through these 5 episodes in 2 days.
You
and,
see the dog one? The dog one?
Yeah, of course. It's fantastic.
I'll
Thank
say
you.
Fantastic.
I'll say the dog one.
It's just
Thank
great.
you very much. Cheers,
Ricky, we'll
guys.
see you next time,
Yeah,
brother.
thanks, man.
All right.
Tell him, Fred.
The Virus. Sirius XM. This is the Opie and Anthony Show.